Second. Okay, I got the motion for approval was properly second. Does that include the contractual matter we discussed in the executive session? All right. It's been properly second. Discussion. Give me a second. I have substitute.
Curfew.
Not midnight.
They had it for 7, I got to go check it.
It's 7 today. All right, any more discussion?
I do have a follow-up, Mr. G. Yes, real quick, and I know we kind of talked based on a contractual matter, moving forward with a vendor. In this document, it was mentioned that we may at some point have to procure other services. And I don't know if it's within this document or at some other point,
Yes.
we will be procuring other services.
In the ordinance, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll be procuring a lot of services.
Okay.
That's what the million is for.
all right.
$1.5 million.
But I was talking more in reference to, I don't want to call them a watchdog group, but the monitoring services side of the equation. That's not in this document. No.
What is?
We don't know, I'm saying that's coming, you don't want to pay attention. I'm saying that we move- There's two parts to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all I was saying is, if we move forward with the motion, there's still a second part where we're going to procure another service in conjunction with.
Do that separate.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
No, it's.
Yes, if you look at the ordinance, there's 4 components to it. Numbers 1 and 2 pertain to authorizing, and it might need to be filled in the motion by either the administrator or the chair, but either would be to retain the services of emergency response providers to coordinate various relief and mitigation activities. And the second one would be the monitors to ensure compliance with that, but it's all in the one motion.
One motion, but in two parts. You just don't know what the second part is.
Which includes the discussion about the up to amount, if you want to put an amount in there. It also includes the direction, which is available whether you pass the ordinance or not. But number 4 is to seek reimbursement through the federal relief process.
Mr. Jackson.
Just to be clear, so we execute this agreement, this is for the unincorporated Richland County? Well, if it's for Richland County, I wonder if it's for unincorporated, or is it includes the city, or is the city doing their own thing? All right, I just want to be clear.
But because of the scope of the Sumter situation that we'd be piggybacking on, which would allow for this type of expedited procurement, you would have the geographical limits of Richland County, which would include all the municipalities. However, the task orders that go out from the county directing where the work should be done could direct where that would take place. So you would have county control over where the work is done, as I understand.
I understand that the work would be in the unincorporated area, not in the incorporated area.
Point of clarification, but there are other incorporated areas of the county which we have relationships with, i.e. Forest Acres, which is an incorporated area.
I just said unincorporated, I didn't say City of Columbia or City of Eastover or Forest Acres.
But
I
you said unincorporated.
Yeah, unincorporated, Eastover is incorporated.
You're knocking off Eastover.
So Eastover, right?
So they're gonna have to give it Forest
I'm asking a
Acres.
question, Forest Acres is incorporated, right?
But we have an agreement with them to provide services for Forest
Well,
Acres.
those who have no agreement with that, I'm talking about with the city of Columbia, do we have agreement to provide service for the city of Columbia? So therefore, the city of Columbia would not be included. Am I right? Or am I wrong?
The way it would work geographically is because you can't go from the smaller to the larger, so but from the larger to the smaller with the geographic limits of Richland County and all the municipalities contained therein, you would have the flexibility to do the work in the municipalities if, in the judgment of council, that were the appropriate thing to do. But all bringing somebody on board, including the monitors, we're not going to monitor something that's not taking place, so you would retain the services of these companies, then task them on their individual operations.
Okay, initially, we're using Richland County's fund balance, our fund balance to do some of this project. Right? Okay, my question is, and we may be reimbursed, we may not be, but are we using our fund balance for, and we have priorities? Right, so the city of Columbia, we said you can't, you have to use geographically, if there's more need in the city of Columbia, are we gonna use our fund balance to do projects in the city of Columbia? And if Hopkins or Richard need it, the priorities in the city, I just want to be clear, right, how that money, where that money will be used, right?
No, this is important.
I want to be clear, right? I don't want to be. It's not important. I think it's important. Everybody said you are. Hold on, before you move in, let me finish asking my question. I have the floor.
Hold up. Just hold up for a second.
Come on now.
All right, Mr.
I just want to be clear.
You still have the floor.
Right? We're using the Richland County's fund balance on this project. Okay? We say we have an agreement to help some municipalities to help them, which I have no problem with it. Right? The city of Columbia, they have their own fund balance. They have their manage their own project. My question is, will the fund balance for the unincorporated area be used for the city of Columbia? And if it's a priority, will the money be spent in the city of Columbia instead of the unincorporated area? I just want it to be clear. That's all I want to know. Can that happen? Will that happen? Or within this motion, it will be specifically, if there's a project in the city of Columbia that needs to be done, right, the priority would go to the unincorporated area because we're using the fund balance for the unincorporated area. That's my question. Can somebody answer me that question?
Mr. Chairman, I think first of all, I think we need to keep in mind that this money and this contractor is not going to do projects. They're not going to build roads, for example, so it's not like this would be saying, is this contractor going to reconstruct a road that's in the city versus one that's in the county? Because again, this is more of a consultant role than a capital projects construction role. So they're going to advise us on what we should do to make sure we're doing everything right, to be reimbursed for what we ultimately do spend down the road in projects. So it's, again, it's not like we're going to build a road that's partly in the county and partly in the city, and we're going to do the whole thing.
I understand where the money will be spent. It will be spent in the city for city purpose or the county for county purposes.
And we're not, unless something changes, going to spend, based on our discussions with the city, we're not going to be spending any hard dollars for projects in the city of Columbia because the
But
city...
we will spending salt dollars for the city?
No.
How do you say you're not spending any hard dollars? I mean, I just want to make sure if you say we're not spending any dollars, that's different. But you're saying we'll be spending any hard dollars for the city.
All right.
I just want to be clear, will we be spending any money for the city?
It's not the intent. Now, if you would like, we can touch base with the city, and as Mr. Burr suggested, if the city wants to join in this agreement, which would be ideal, because then you've got a contractor who is then making that division itself. We can talk with the city between now and Monday, after you approve this tonight, and hopefully, again, they'll be ready to join and to get into the contract as well. And then that, I think, kind of clarifies and answers the whole question, if they are willing to do that.
Okay. All right, tell Mr. Jackson.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Who else had that? Mr. Washington.
Again, it goes back to redundancy of service. If the city is going to do their own contract, the county is going to do their contract as well. And you can't clearly tell us or delineate whether that's going to be unincorporated or in the city limits. It goes back to all the services that were provided throughout this whole event. Redundancy of service located in one location. And that was the reason I raised the question of splitting this contract up. I don't care how we cut it, we're going to end up providing multiple and redundant services in certain parts of this county.
I think, I'm sorry, Chairman.
Now, is this contract, is it strictly exclusive? Because my motion I'm going to make is that we do not, is not strictly exclusive.
I'll defer to Mr. Farah.
Hold on,
while they're holding the vote. Can I ask a budget question?
Mr. Ferguson.
I would just say a couple things. First of all, and this is where kind of the boilerplate language from the ordinance, you kind of have to actually look at, because what it says is you cannot grant, renew, or extend a franchise, and for purposes of that, that would be kind of a monopoly exclusive situation. This would not be exclusive. You wouldn't be paying this type of company until you send them on a mission, and you could have multiple companies, then you'd have to make the policy judgment about whether or not that's operationally what you want, but legally, you could do that, and you could restrict their service area. You could hire a company for Richland County and say, we'd like you to go repair Charlestown. You could pay for that if you wanted to. You could send them wherever you want to send them legally, unless there's somebody opposing somebody coming in and fixing their street. So you legally have the right to contract with as many different folks as you want to. Practically, if that makes business sense for you, that's your judgment that you would have to make.
So it's not exclusive.
It's not yet, no, sir, it's not exclusive.
Now, we spoke about some engineering work possibly that they may have to do. And you said it's not about engineering or construction?
No, sir. But I believe they have the ability to coordinate that for you.
But in this agreement, who triggers that if some engineering needs to take place?
That would be me, I would be coordinating with, and/or transportation.
And in this, a substantial amount of the services would be debris removal. That's what you would see, a huge aspect of what they would do. Because you're talking about in the immediate aftermath for the next several weeks or so. And that's where it's going to come into play with those local businesses that have the ability to participate in that. That would be ideal because they're on site, they may have the, if they don't, then obviously the company has the ability to reach out and get folks who can, but flexibility is pretty maximum in this.
Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right. With that being said, the motion on the table is approval of this ordinance. Been properly second. All in favor of that motion signify by raising your hand.
Those in favor: Dixon, Malinowski, Jackson, Rose, Pierce, Rush, Livingston, Dickerson, Washington, Manning, and Duke.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Move by
Any opposed?
Second to reconsideration.
I got a motion for reconsideration. It's been properly second. Any discussion? All in favor of reconsideration, signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
That motion fails. Let me ask you one question before we go. Is that all you need for this process? That's all I need.
Motion adjourned.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We're not adjourning. Sit down.
I got a motion for adjournment. It's been properly second. All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.
I would just say, if the council member wants to come down to the ELC and see what's going on.
You going down there now?
Signify by saying aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned.